Hello, XRCC community. Nice to have you all here. As you see, I'm with Ashish, and I'm really excited for this lecture. This is actually the second one of the day, so if you missed the first one, you can go ahead and watch the recording. Perhaps you're like me in the European time zone, it was during the day, but now we're in the evening. We hope to have a nice group of people available, not only from here, but around the world. Ashish, where are you located actually?
I'm located in Bangalore in India right now.
Okay, a little bit late, right?
Yeah, it's 9:30 in the evening.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for being here so late in the evening. It's really exciting to have you, and I think this is going to be a great lecture for everyone. Just putting this out there, if you have already joined XRCC, then we're happy to have you here for all of these lectures. But if not, if you have not yet joined, you still have the opportunity to do so, even though we have already launched. So you can go to xrcc.events and still register. Also, if you are a participant, that knows other people who would actually really love joining and building and perhaps winning, feel free to also invite your friends. You have a referral link available in your portal, and you can share that with others and still get them to join in. So yeah, let's go ahead and start the session. What we'll do is we will just listen and absorb all of the genius that Ashish has to share, and we'll do the questions at the very end. But feel free at any moment to just put your comments, put your questions in the chat. I will collect everything. And then at the end, we'll answer all of the questions live. So let's go ahead and dive in. The stage is yours.
All right. Thank you, Angela, very much. And um, please let me know if my slide is visible. Yeah. All right. So today's lecture is about think spatial and build fast. It's mostly about ShapesXR, but I've also taken up a slightly different approach. I wanted to actually walk you through my journey into XRCC and uh, like talk from the my experience of participating in these hackathons as a hacker myself. And one like I've already shared like how I participated in three different hacks from Immersive Insiders, and ShapesXR has been one of the common threads in all the three hackathons. So let's just look at the agenda real quick. So after a little bit of intro, we'll dive directly into these hackathons, how they look like, what was some of the like the real story over there, and then we'll get into some specifics about shapes and how to maybe take it forward uh, towards a actual real working build. Okay. So, uh, so a little bit of intro about me. I am a XR new media designer, developer. I've mostly worked as a consultant, and I have worked across areas such as heritage, brand experiences, and museums. Working in the space of wildlife as well. Meaning like creating immersive or interactive installations for uh, wildlife conservation space as well. I also am a design educator, and I have given my guest lectures at some of these design schools in India. And there's a QR code in at the end of the slide, so you can scan that and go to my website. And there's also my socials over there, so you can also reach out to me or find me at LinkedIn and like basically reach out to me. Okay, now let's dive into these hackathons. To give you a basic idea, like the first hack by Immersive Insiders was in 2024, and that is when it was in Berlin, it was in person, and it was in June 2024 where we worked on Water Me Hard, which was the name of the project. Then in December 2024, um, they organized XR Design Challenge or XRDC, where we worked on Lighthouse. And then last year in June of 2025, There was another in-person hack, and I went another time to Berlin, and we created Inklings. And now we are in XRCC 2026. So, so let me begin by the first one, the XRCC 24. And to be honest, this session is going to be more like a story of my experience. So, from most of the people who are probably joining in for the first time, I was probably in the same shoes as most of you. And I had just filled in this form online, and I had not really thought it through as much, because I was really interested in this hackathon, but I had not really thought through about all the logistics of actually getting there. I had never traveled abroad before this, so when I got shortlisted, I really started thinking about, okay, now I need to go, so I need to do all the paperwork and everything. So I did that, and there was a lot of drama. My passport did not came in time. I postponed my flights once. I and even after postponing, the passport did not arrive in time. I at that point I canceled all my flights, and the day I canceled my flights, the very next day the passport actually came in, and then I was thinking whether to go or not to go, and with some good friends, they really pushed me that you should definitely go for this. I really built up the courage and booked my flights again and went back again. And even then, the drama did not end. I had like last minute bookings, 4 connecting flights, and out of which some of them got delayed. And I was already late, and I got to Berlin on the night of second day, which meant the teams had already formed, and they had probably chosen their ideas and already started working on it, and it was just 4 day of hack. So the fourth day was essentially award ceremony, and I had already lost 2 days, so I was quite nervous, to be honest. But then I was there, so I decided to make most out of it, and I met Henry, who was also in the hostel and also participating in the hack, obviously. And I spoke to him. I spoke to other teams as well. But Henry said that in their team, there's only 3 people and they could use some help from one more person in the team. So that's how I joined Jaguars. They had already started on this project called Water Me Hard. It was a mixed reality plant care application. The whole idea was, how can you give the plants some personality, some human touch, and they can actually respond back to you. They can talk back to you. They can tell you what are their needs, if they're running low on water or their pot needs to be drained out. They can, like, just talk to you. And the other interesting part about this project was we used Hume.ai, which was able to give plants not just a personality, but like a quirky personality or like a funny personality. So let me just go ahead and show you the video.
Oh, nice. First plant? Yep. Don't forget, water it hard.
Let's face it, caring for plants is really boring. So we've asked ourselves, how do we disrupt houseplants industry? Introducing plants that can speak.
Look who finally decided to grace me with their presence.
Give your plants personalities.
It's not like I need water or anything, right?
Interact with them.
If you're going to water me, at least make it interesting.
Give them some love, sometimes.
You think you could maybe remember to water me once in a while?
The more plants you have, the more drama you can experience.
I'm picking up some weird vibes from that new succulent you brought home last week.
Hey, I'm new. What's up?
Did you water your plants?
Yeah, so So this project, like the video was very well received, and that is where actually the ShapesXR comes into this project. Like as a team, we were building both the ShapesXR prototype and the Unity prototype. But it actually, just to recap a little bit, the team had started building on this project initially by doing paper prototyping, and that's how this sticky notes that they were using. And this was before me even joining the team. This was probably in the first 2 days. So they had already started iterating and prototyping using these sticky notes, which the team really loved, and that is what also got ahead, and that's what you see on the pods. So all these other visuals that you see, they are recreated inside Shapes, and Shapes is really great when you want to take these short clips, while other person could be, interacting, and the other and the second person could, take a video from their POV, or you could also record yourself, so it's in first person perspective. And the credit to video really goes to Iggy and Juan and Henry. They were both working on the Unity build, and I was just there supporting the team in the best way possible. And Shapes really helped us in creating these clips together. And Iggy was very good with his creative direction. He got all the shots that he wanted within like 1 hour, and he vanished, and the next day he came in with this banger of a video. And essentially, this was very well received, and as you can also see, we got recognized with the second prize for the best use of ShapesXR. So for me, I was like really happy after this project. But um, what was also super interesting after this project, the some of the people from this XRCC community uh, came together, and very organically we formed this prototyping club or XR feedback space, which was again built within ShapesXR. And this was after the hackathon was over, and before XRDC. And this became like this space where people will come and showcase each other their AR or VR projects, and just have like a general session giving each other feedbacks and meeting people in the same space. And that is where I met Vinay. Vinay also came from my same college, and but I had never met him in real life. And we became friends. And when XRDC in December of 2024 was around the corner, we decided to basically take part together. And most of today's talk will be focused on this XR design challenge, because its format is also something which aligns with the current hackathon the most. This was also online, and the current hack has also like a previous phase, the first phase, which is online, which is going on right now, which is much longer than the in-person hackathon, which is generally 3 to 4 days. So let me just begin by showcasing what we actually submitted as the trailer video.
Yay!
Introducing Lighthouse, your personal guide to getting things done. What if you had a companion that not only organizes your life, but also makes sure you stay on track? Lighthouse starts with your day-to-day, helping you build habits and routines that stick. Whether it's a long-term goal or a critical project, Lighthouse keeps your progress visible and your focus intact.
Immersive focus activated.
Lighthouse creates distraction-free zone where you can fully immerse yourself in work. From daily routines to lifelong ambitions, Lighthouse is your guide to clarity, focus, and success.
Yeah. So as you can see that this project was called Lighthouse, and this was done over a course of I think 4 to 6 weeks roughly. I don't remember the exact timeline right now, but about 4 to 6 weeks, and we had some time to think about how do we want to plan it, what exactly want to work on it, and how did we arrive to come to this point is what I'm going to show you. And so these are some of the steps, but I also don't want to go too much into my project, but I will quickly glimpse through some of these things. So when this project was beginning, even before the themes were disclosed, we had started chatting between each other, and remember that we had never met in person in real life. So we were also in different locations. So which might also be the case with some of you if you might have formed teams where people are working, online together, remotely together. So our tools of working together was Figma, Google Meet, and Shapes. So a lot of this was orchestrated in Figma, and these are the screenshots that you see from Figma. So we had started laying out what are our common sort of interest areas, and then we started to like define amongst ourselves only like what is kind of like our approach to figuring out even what we want to build. So that started by like mapping out our areas of interest and like trying out some of these experiences, not firstly like looking over on the internet what are some of the existing applications or games or projects which are out there that you can look at and get some inspiration, and do our own research, and then trying them out in first person, and taking notes or just mapping out what grabs our attention. Then based on that we can like create some of our experiments, generate a series of potential ideas, and maybe after some point get to a point where we want to work on a particular idea. So this on the side that you see is basically the themes that was present during the XRDC hack, and this is basically a map of all the experiences and ideas that we were laying out. I don't think after a point we were very consistent in placing things here, but we also needed a mechanism between each other to like work together. Then after a point we had to choose a direction, and we went with productivity, and within productivity we wanted to work on productivity because that is something which is most relatable, and even between amongst each other, between the teammates, we thought productivity is something that everyone deals with. We want to be more productive and make use of our times, and when we are not able to do that, then it's not a great feeling. So how could we use XR and AI to become more productive? So we chose XR AI for productivity and for everyday use case. So then we went into some of the literature and literature review and comparative analysis, like what are some of the best books out there on productivity or frameworks which are out there, proven frameworks from which we can get some insights from. What are some of the applications which work on productivity? They need not be in XR. or AI, or some of them could be in XR or AI. So we went ahead and looked at some of those examples. For example, these there were a lot which were working on making a person productive in their day-to-day life, for example, and with daily habits and habit tracker, me plus, these kind of applications, they work on habit tracking and those type of concepts, while Rise, which is at the bottom, is a AI driven application which lets people keep track of their time, but they don't have to do it manually. The AI will take care of it. So stuff like that. So we went full design thinking in design research into this project, and like noted down what works and what doesn't, and then we concluded that into these key questions, like if productivity, XR, and AI is our key focus direction, then what are some of these key questions that we can ask ourselves? For example, what does it even mean to be productive? Um, what are the key factors that affect productivity? How do we even measure productivity? And what is unique about XR that it brings to the table when it comes to productivity? Uh, what are the cognitive and emotional factors that influence productivity? And what is AI? What can AI bring to the table when it comes to productivity? Now, these anchor type questions can actually help in any of your projects as well, because these questions are leading questions which these are just perspectives or a lens through which you can look into your direction and try to figure out answers for them, and which led us into these key findings which we have jotted down over here in so many sticky notes. But when it came down to, okay, now we need to actually, we have done our research, we need to boil it down and think about what we actually want to build. So then we decided, like, what are some of the interesting things that we think we want to have in our solution. So then we started to note down some of the things that were recurring again and again. So from day-to-day productivity to higher goals and ambitions, uh, we mapped these key focus areas, and then we came up uh, this with the solution where we tried to combine everything in this UI. So here you see this navigation bar at the bottom, and from to do today, which lets you take care of the tasks that you have to do today. From that to routines, which is like recurring tasks. Project timeline is something that you have something with a deadline and you have to take care of that. Then goals are something which is like you something long term, and these are all things that can be, this is just a framework turned into an interface. And then we also had in the middle Lighthouse AI, so that could have some of the live features with AI, and there were some highlight features as well. So we like design all of these within Shapes, and this is how some of those elements look like. So you can also see some of these UI explorations over here. And the credit here really goes to Vinay, because he's really amazing visual designer and very great at 3D skills. So he really poured like life into these UI screens. Then there were these highlight features as well. Like we went full in inside how XR and AI based solution can make a person productive in their day-to-day life. And the core finding for us was these two different directions, which is they need to get their life in a person needs to get their life in order. And once like you can work on your day to day, your routines and all that stuff, then you can also try to work towards your higher goals and ambitions. So which also includes like working on your system, and how can working with your computer can make you more productive and stuff like that. So we had some of those features as well. For example, augmented overlays and immersive focus with desktop integration. I think this video might help in illustrating this. I'll just play this.
Hey Lighthouse, I need to work on my research report. Activate immersive focus.
Activating immersive focus.
So here I'm showcasing like a whole flow of how the AI capabilities on your glasses could work with your computer and help with tasks like making a research report. So if you have a series of interviews that you have taken,
Hey Lighthouse,
you can ask
summarize and capture key insights from this interview.
Lighthouse to generate a report having all the insights and everything condensed into one report.
Nice job. You finished your report in time.
So as you saw this prototype, this was all again built within Shapes. Now the difference between Watami Hard and Lighthouse, for example, is that in Watami Hard we did not create an interactive prototype, while in Shapes, sorry, in Lighthouse we utilize Shapes to its limits, and like we had all these interactions also built within Shapes itself, like showcasing all the various features uh, within Shapes itself. But now this brings me to another important point, which is what worked and what really didn't. So we had really deep research and a clear understanding of what we wanted to work upon, and we were able to build a fully understandable prototype within ShapesXR, and we recorded a lot of our clips from within the prototype, while one of us would be interacting and the other person would like from an interesting POV they can take record the shot. And we got an interesting enough packaging video that got us to the finalist inside the productivity track. So we're quite happy with it. But still, what didn't work for us was the scoping of the project. Like we went too deep into the project, so that like we had too many ideas. We had so many things that we wanted to do. So in a hackathon setting, that is also one of the important things to remember. Like, do less but do it well. That is one of the things that we understood from this project. And then also one more thing, ShapesXR, while it is really cool and really easy to get inside, but it cannot really replace what a working demo can do, which can actually showcase some working features. So, and especially within a hackathon, which is which gives you like not just few days, but a couple of weeks, then you are expected to, like make a build where you can actually showcase some working features. Okay, now this brings me to the third edition XRCC 2025. This happened last year, and what we built was Inklings. So Logitech was also one of the sponsors last year, and they had this MX Link stylus, which could connect with the Quest headset and let you draw within shapes directly, and it can actually act as a pointing device within shapes, and it could also integrate with Unity, so you could um, make use of it. And also education was one of the categories, so we started to think about like how can we use the MX Inc. For education space, and in the image you can see Jonathan, who was one of the first teammates that I found during the hack, and we started speaking about like what might be the interesting ideas to work with initially, and he knew some teachers who actually work in this space where students are actively using MetaQuest headsets in the classroom. So there might be an actual use case where this might be pitched. So that became the starting line for our project, and we started to explore around, like what can we build. So in a nutshell, this project is about teachers and students interacting with each other in a classroom setting where they have a white space, which is a 3D. This white space comes from like whiteboard and empty space. So white space, like this is a 3D space where teachers can draw anything, and to represent spatial concepts, or even provide quizzes to students, and then students can work in their own space and submit their answers back to the teacher, and then teacher can evaluate that. So let me show the video of the trailer that we created.
Remember those first thoughts? Those early subtle sparks of inspiration? Those are the tiny seeds of a bigger concept. Designed to work seamlessly with the Logitech MX Ink, a 3D spatial pen that can be customized in XR to add a personal touch. Why struggle to learn complex 3D concepts in 2D when you can sketch, draw, and create in 3 dimensions, right from your desk? With Inklings, students don't just watch, they contribute. Inklings grows with learners. Creative thinking takes shape because every student has an inkling.
Yeah. So this was Inklings, and wait. Yeah. These are some of the screenshots from the application, and one of the photos of the judges while they came to our desk. Um, Now coming to the point about what worked and what did not. In this project, we had a great team. And by the way, a few notes about the team. So this was also super interesting because Vinay, who was my teammate in XRDC, also went ahead to do a master's in Berlin. in University of Europe. So he was also there in Berlin. And when I reached to participate again, and he was also one of the reasons why I went back once more. I also found Juan again. So in my team, I was already working with Vinay and Juan from the past hacks, and Jonathan was a new member. So it was really interesting to work again with uh, people I already knew what were their strengths and weaknesses. So it was really fun to, work in team with known friends. Anyways, so we had a great team and a great idea, mm, and we got to build with Logitech MX stylus. And one of the great things of working with within these hackathons is also like you get to work with new gadgets that you might not have access to. And here also we built two different prototypes, one in Shapes and one within Unity. um, while it was really in easy relatively easy to like showcase some of the uh, visuals or the design vision within Shapes, uh, it's not as straightforward within Unity. Some might say that so our Unity prototype, while it was very functional, but I would say that it was not able to sell the vision. And one of my sort of insights from this project was like we needed to showcase a platform maybe where we could show how those quizzes or those spatial concepts could be easily created, and that platform could act as a bridge between the teachers and the students. So that was probably something which did not come across as well. And our video also probably did not did as good in terms of explaining what exactly the project did. Like it gave some idea about like it can work in education sector, and these concept first thoughts, but exactly how, what is the interface, all those questions were kind of not answered. So like one thing which I would also want to add is like whatever the tool, you have to spend some time about thinking like how are you actually communicating your idea. Okay, I think now we can head on to ShapesXR specific uh, features. And here I have added a few examples, which for some of you, if you are not really aware of ShapesXR and like just listening to me about like ShapesXR for so long, so this will give you some
Time to set
visual understanding of how the interface and what really is the tool.
table. Click Start. This is what done looks like. Each person needs one glass, one knife. We
So
put
here
the
you
folded
can see
napkin
how
next to the
the
plate on the left
interactions are
side.
built for somebody who is dealing with
Put the
autism.
glass above the knife.
And
Great job.
here also you can see how
Well
it
done.
had body
You set the
attached
table.
the glass. You can also interact with your hands. This uh, this is how the user interface kind of looks like. And you have got like a library of assets. I also like to sort of say that Shapes XR is a lot like Figma for VR. So like how Figma is for 2D design, Shapes XR is kind of like one of the best tools that we have got for spatial design. So it has got a library of 3D and 2D assets. And as you will see further in the video, like you can easily duplicate, make your spatial UI very quickly or relatively quickly. And then this is the one of the most interesting part. And again, this is not something that you have to use, but you could utilize it. This is interactions. So you can add interactions on click, on touch, on hover, and on a button press on your controller. So all of those things are at your disposal.
This
also
is
add
what
sound.
done looks like. This is what done looks like. This is what done looks like.
So there's also this very interesting feature where you can actually attach objects in the 3D space to your body. So for example, in this one, they're attaching the plate right to the player's right hand, and basically you can showcase how a person can grab an object and place it in the plate.
Great job.
So yeah. Now I'll give you one more example of what I had built previously, where I was exploring some of the features with shapes. Um, So here in this one, I was basically exploring a bunch of things. The animation feature from Shapes had like come in those days, around those days. So I was trying to explore that. So uh, between that and body attached UI, I was exploring how you can have like a music player and you can have it attached to your hand, and like maybe seeing how two different positions looked like in that. So how you can change it from a world space UI to a hand attached space. Then there is also Figma integration amongst other things. So take a look. So yeah, like this prototype is fully built inside Figma and then brought inside Shapes. So that is also something that can be explored. I have not personally used Figma integration as much, but I would say you can definitely give it a go. Uh, then This brings me to the last point, which is how do you take what you build inside Shapes to an actual Unity build? So there is a ShapesXR Unity plugin that is there. So you can go to ShapesXR Learn and Unity integration on this link, where you will find all the instructions of how to basically import this plugin. There are a couple of steps to this. Um, but there are a few caveats. Like this is only one way flow. You can make something within Shapes and bring it to Unity, but you cannot export it back from Unity to Shapes. Another thing is you get all the scene hierarchy, all your objects, the viewpoints, all of that gets preserved, um, and has will be brought inside Unity. But about interactions, like if you're also designing your interactions within Shapes, uh, that you will have to redo within Unity, because this is also a key understanding how Shapes works and Unity work. Shapes prototypes are essentially visual prototypes. Like you can showcase how an interaction works, but it will not actually perform that interaction. In Unity, you actually make those things work. For example, in my Lighthouse project, if there is a voice activated feature, I can sort of show that within Shapes. But if I actually want to build it, then within Unity, I'll have to work with some API or some SDK from a voice, speech to text, or voice related, plugins. And then it will actually become, like a working thing. So, um, so those are some of the things that you should keep in mind. But there is the Shapes plugin, which is there for Unity. And now, so just to conclude everything, like how can you actually use Shapes for your hackathon? So the one of the primary ways is you can use it for shared ideation, especially if your team is located in various locations and you're not physically present together. You can be in a shared space together and can design and talk to each other at the same time in the 3D space. So that is just one of the first things which is really cool, especially in the early days. And then you can also make something like a non-interactive flow, which is just to get like a feel of what the steps are gonna look like, but you don't need to maybe create the whole interactive flow within the app. And this also goes through if you are, making it inside Unity, that you should definitely do Unity or any other tool, for example Unreal or even WebXR. um, you can also go and build an interactive flow, or you can also create a spatial layout within Shapes and then bring it inside Unity. Like you can design your user interface within Shapes and then you can bring it inside Unity if you want to first, like design it together with your team, uh, and then want to work on top of it within Unity. And also, you can use agentic AI based workflows today to really, fast forward your process within Unity as well. So I would say that you can utilize the best of both worlds. Use Shapes initially to get a sense and feeling of how the interface and the interactions are gonna look and feel like. But then go inside Unity and try to actually build them with AI-based workflows. And for your packaging video, I think Shapes works really well. So you can definitely make use of that. Okay, so that brings me to the end slide. Thank you. And now I'm good for any Q&A. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wow, I can't even believe how many experiences you've collected, and not only general hackathons and general adventures with the flights and the visas and everything, but I think especially your experience with all the different versions of XRCC, XRDC as well, will be super relevant to our audience. So thank you so much for sharing all of your experience and also the insight about ShapesXR. I hope that interests people to try it out.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And we have a little bit of time left for questions, so I'll take just a couple. Let's go ahead and dive in. So we have also some comments, like people say, no way, the visa issues suck.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I remember seeing this plant trailer showcase last year as a best practice. Love it. Yes.
Yeah.
Someone says, very interesting. And also that ShapesXR is a very powerful tool. Yeah, agreed.
Oh, thanks, Ashish.
What are some things we should be careful about when using ShapesXR? I think you touched on that a little bit. For example, like, going into Unity but not being able to take the Unity stuff back. But is there anything additional you want to add?
Yeah. So like you need to be really careful with shapes when it comes to file sizes and model sizes for 3D stuff, because you have to also keep in mind that this is an application running inside MetaQuest, and it's a multiplayer, multi-user application. So it is doing a lot of things at the same time, and so it has a budget on like how much like performance wise it can do. So you should not go ahead with very should not go with an intention that you are going to make something super polished or like super heavy models with high poly count and stuff like that. So you have to be really careful on those sides.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. There's a question here. In online XR hackathons, demo, video judging, how do you present useful systems like sensor-driven head-up displays when they may look just like numbers on a panel so judges instantly understand the impact?
Yeah, this is an interesting question. So there are demo video judging. Okay, so there are two ways to think about it. One is, I would say, as you all know by now, like there's 25% weightage on the packaging video, and which also makes sense, because if we look at how we also consume media, we scroll through our Instagram feeds and everything, and attention is really important. To capture somebody's attention in the shortest amount of time is really important in today's world. So for the packaging video, you can get creative. You can really get creative, and it does not need to be a working demo for that. So shapes, for example, can really work. How can you, in terms of visuals, in terms of how you can like showcase an interaction, like you touch a button and maybe or like maybe you have something sensor driven, and like you have maybe according to distance some value is changing in some UI input field or something like that, that you can showcase something without actually implementing it, and that can work for your packaging video, for example. uh, so so I think these two approaches, where one is more on the creative side, where one is intentionally working on more how can you showcase this versus how can you actually implement this, that has to go sort of hand in hand. I
Thank you so
hope
much.
I answered the question. Yeah.
Yeah, you can also put in the chat if you have follow-up questions or anything like that. I wanted to also ask you as well, because yeah, you gave so many great tips, you know, the learnings that you shared and just your overall experience. And so what would be your last recommendation for this challenge happening right now? You know, people had 3 weeks in total, basically. Now we're nearing almost just 2 weeks left. I know a lot of people have just formed their teams. Maybe they're still talking with the last team members, you know, thinking about the use cases and, you know, finalizing exactly which track they want to join. By the way, the submission for your formation. So if you are not yet signed up in the portal with your team formation, you have a couple more days to do so. But yeah, people are still kind of formulating their last thoughts. But with the remaining 2 weeks that we have left, what would you say are the best tips from your whole presentation and from ShapesXR and everything that you have for the builders out there?
Yeah, I think even 2 weeks is relatively longer than 4 days. So in the in-person hacks, you just get like 3 to 4 days, and 2 weeks is still enough time to, even for people who have just formed their teams just now, there is still time. So one is that. Another is like how can you should also work, um, work in a way that you make like in between checkpoints for your own team. So like maybe within 3 days or 4 days you have to maybe like fix your uh, idea or which track you want to participate in, and then maybe you lock in 3 to 4 days for maybe like exploration and looking at some of the uh, project ideas that there are for your own sort of uh, design thinking exercises. I mean, one another tangential point is like these process is not same for everyone. It could be really different for some other teams. For some teams, what might work might not work for somebody else. But some of the general pointers that I can share is like work with checkpoints and have your own deadlines, and utilizing shapes. I think you can really get a sense and feel of how the interface is going to look like, and more than even shapes, I would say. Uh, like take some time to really look at existing solutions applications, and they not need necessarily only in XR. For example, you can go and look at certain problem that you are trying to solve, and maybe find a mobile application and what they are really doing well, and there will definitely be insights from there as well. So there's always this question that comes again and again, like why to even do this in XR, for example. So you should have like some enough, good enough reason why are you making a person wear a headset and like asking them to do a certain thing in a certain way, because it's already a lot of steps for a lot of people to put on a headset and go inside an application, and uh, that is already cumbersome for a lot of people. So why should somebody bother and do that? So you should have like a good enough reason for that. So should spend some time on thinking about all these factors, I would say.
Yeah, thank you so much for that great answer. I think that really captures the interesting part and also the challenge of just building for XR in general. But yeah, we have a thank you here So I would also like to say thank you for sharing all of your knowledge and experience with us at XRCC. And yeah, I think it's great to continue this discussion on Discord. You know, if you
Yeah.
have further questions later, or you also have, you know, experience to share. Like you said, every team operates a little bit differently. So I'd love to keep this conversation going about, okay, what's your experience with hackathons, or what's your experience at XRCC or building for XR? And we can just make this a kind of, yeah, just general learning experience. So yes, we have another thank you. Thank you for joining the session.
you.
Would you like to say anything before we close the session?
Just that, like, if any of you want to reach me, like, I am available through LinkedIn or even other socials. You can find my website, and like, I can also drop it in the chat if that is possible. Or
And is there any portfolio links for those projects people are interested in maybe checking
yeah,
out?
I have like, I don't know where to type, but I can drop it in the chat after the session.
Yeah, maybe
Or
just putting it in Discord where everyone can
yeah,
access
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. I'll do that. So yeah, you can definitely reach out to me, and yeah, of course, thank you for having me over here, and it was really great to be on this side of the stage.
Thank you so much, and I wish everyone a wonderful rest of your night or